is a P-I-G pig.
Hey there, folks. So I thought I'd experiment with my format a little bit. So we've confirmed in the past that I can knock down a 12 taco pack with no problem. So I decided tonight, this is supposed to be training, right? Why not up my game a little bit? So I added the big box to this, and I talked about it in the past. I'm pretty sure in one of my past videos I talked about what they're calling, I think they're calling these nacho chip chicken. To make a long story short, Taco Bell has made chicken McNuggets, or their own version of chicken McNuggets. Huh? The big issue that I had the last time I tried it is all they got, man, that's just standard yellow nacho sauce. It's okay. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think we can do something to kind of kick this up a little bit. So I'm going to enhance the cheese with a few packs of mild sauce. Now I'm going to launch the video. All right, there we go. Damn video recorder froze up on me for a minute. So not bad. So I'm feeling a little better after the last video. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Not feeling better, but feeling more stabilized. Like I said in the video, I'm just going to make damn sure that I do not make myself vulnerable like that ever again. But I had a couple of y'all reach out to me on Telegram or Skype, and I appreciate that. I do. I don't have the fact that I know some of you are just here because you know the shirt's going to come off and you know I'm going to start belching. In short, to some of y'all, I'm just something to whack your dicks to for a few minutes until the next thing comes along. And you know, it's, I guess you could say that's par for the course. I knew that I'd have certain people. I knew that I'd have people looking for that when, you know, when I started this. But it's also nice to see that there's some of you all who actually are a little concerned. When I was feeling pretty shitty last week, y'all checked in on me, and that's kind of nice. You know, every time I end the video, I'll tell you all to stay safe, man, and I do it for a reason. Hold that thought. I genuinely hope I don't sound cynical when I say what I'm about to say. But the world's kind of turning into a shitty place. I don't think we're at the point of no return yet, though. And that's the one saving grace to this. But I do think things are getting pretty damn dark and pretty damn grim. That whole idea of compassion, that whole idea of empathy, that whole idea that we're all kind of in this together, I just don't see a lot of it anymore. It's kind of like the scene in an apocalypse movie when everybody realizes the shit's about to hit the fan and they're just in it for themselves to save their own ass. I see it all the time when I'm out driving on the road. I have not had a moving violation since the year 2000. I have not had a collision since 1989. I pride myself on that. I'm a careful driver because I have to be a careful driver. If I don't have a car, I can't make a living. So when I'm on the road, I always try to be courteous to people. But then I see you'll get these shitheads out on the road. Let's say that there's a ramp pulling off to the right. And there's 2 lanes of traffic. And you got people who are lining up on the right, and they're getting ready to go into that ramp, and everybody's taking their turn. Then you got that one shithead who will get in the left lane, ride that left lane right up until the last possible minute, and then cut into the right and cut everybody else off. No goddamn consideration for anybody else. It's just all about them. And that's all they're thinking about. And it ain't even on the road. When I'm at the grocery store, or when I'm out at somewhere like Walmart, man, what happens? People will push by you, and it won't even be like a pardon me or excuse me. No acknowledgement that you're there at all. You are just a living, organic obstacle in their way to get wherever they're going. And I've seen it, and I've seen it, and I've seen it, and it really concerns me. The whole lack of civility. This may surprise some of y'all, but one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Mad Men on AMC. And for me, one of the reasons why I like watching them, every year, once or twice a year, I'll sit back and I'll start at season 1. I'll go all the way through now season 7, now that it's done. And I'm not one of these people who has this romantic nostalgia for the 60s. The 60s had just ended when I came along. Although I had echoes of the 60s in the TV shows that I watched when I was a little kid. All the sitcoms that they had on TV in the afternoon, Green Acres, Petticoat Junction, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, even the Brady Bunch. Those were all produced basically in the 60s. And for me, watching episodes of Mad Men, it's kind of like going back to a time when people were more polite. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've seen the show, you know people were pretty shitty to each other back then. And if you really want to pull back into the big picture, someone like me would have never been in that show. Someone like me would have never made it into one of those offices. Maybe in best case situation, I might be like Don Draper or Dick Whitman's brother Adam. Just someone kind of cleaning up and doing stuff in the background, low on the totem pole. But there was a certain civility. People did treat each other, at least on the outside. They were more polite to each other. Now, what happened backstage, what happened behind closed doors was different. But I just don't see that anymore. Everybody's fucking pushy. Everybody's fucking rude. Everybody only thinks about themselves. You know, I think back to that Greatest Generation of World War II. And I've consistently thought, what would happen if we had that kind of a global threat? In other words, what would happen if we had some kind of a threat that was so major, so severe, that we as a country had to pull together in order to repel it, in order to overcome it? I don't think we would. I think we have become so focused on ourselves individually that the idea of acts of compassion, helping someone that you're getting absolutely nothing from, they don't exist anymore. It's a real story. I was driving earlier today, and when I drive, I always scan the road. Always looking ahead of me. Always looking to make sure there's nothing that might be getting in my way. Always looking to make sure that another driver may not be setting up to cut me off or doing something stupid that I'll have to avoid. My philosophy as a driver has always been the best way not to be in an accident is don't be there when the dumbass causes one. So I'm down on just outside Garner. I'm on Gorman Street. And as I'm about to turn, I see a turtle crossing the road. And the problem was the turtle had just left the curb. So the woods were over on this side. The turtle was moving into the turn lane. And if the turtle made it through the turn lane, the turtle would have had to go through 4 lanes of traffic. And that was if the turtle directly crossed. He was heading in the diagonal path. So he'd be heading into the cross intersection. So I kind of realized the crazy little bastard's odds were not in favor of survival. So I pulled off. I pulled my car up onto the curb. I grabbed him. And he was pissed as hell, man. As soon as he realized that I was grabbing this show, man, you never seen a goddamn turtle try to move so fast. But I grabbed him, I put him on the grass, and I pointed him back in the direction of the woods. And by the time I kind of got a little far away, once he realized that I wasn't going to bother him anymore, he turned and he started walking in back towards the woods in the creek. But as I was walking back to my car, I was thinking, how many people would have stopped to have done that? Because when I was pulling onto that turn ramp, there were 3 cars ahead of me. Now, to their credit, they tried to dodge them at least. You didn't have some crazy little asshole kid who thought he'd try to hit the turtle like, you know, fucking Mario Kart in real life. But I was thinking, you know, how many people would have actually stopped and performed the simple act of just making sure that that turtle didn't get hit by a car? And the fact that as I was moving the turtle, once I got about a foot or 2 away from the curb, a truck actually, pulled around, barely stopped just long enough to not hit me. Didn't even try to fucking slow down, man. I was just one more obstacle, trying to get the obstacle out of the road. So we're in this me first society, where I know that a majority of the people who are watching these videos, this is what you're watching for. You want to see the fat dude stuffing himself with the shirt off, belching away. More power to you. But I was genuinely touched that I actually had a couple people reach out to me after that video last week and just, you know, Tiger, are you okay? Mark, you seemed a little down. You all right, man? So I appreciate that. And those of y'all who did that, I appreciate y'all. You know who you are. But man, I'm to the point, I'm just... Oh. It just feels like something in the world ain't right. And I'm going to probably piss a couple of y'all off because with 1,000+ people watching me, I'm sure at least a few of you voted for Agent Orange. Ever since that event, people are getting nastier, getting more hateful, getting more abrasive. I saw a video of a dude at Starbucks. He's in a white suit, and a shitty looking white suit at that. Someone spilled coffee on his suit. I swear to God, man, this 23-year-old kid turned into the Grand Dragon of the fucking KKK with the stuff that he was saying, of which I will not repeat. So NPR has a blog called Code Switching. Code Switch, where they talk about this notion, and it's a legitimate one. The way that minorities modify their communication strategy around white people. That's the whole idea, the code switch. Language is just a code. You're understanding me right now because we're working from a phonetic code. I'm using a series of clicks, whistles, and grunts using my mouth, teeth, and lips that are recorded by the computer, and you're playing it back, and you're able to understand me because you know what those clicks, whistles, and grunts mean. And then we get into the idea of language, where language is a series of signs and signifiers, where the word points to one thing, or in some cases, the word may point to several things. So this idea of code switching is about communication strategies and how minorities modify their communication strategies to suit their context. Well, I too am engaging in code switching because even if I were to say the things that that young man said in that Starbucks to those people, coming from the mouth of someone who looks like me, coming out of the mouth of someone with this accent, I'd be opening myself up for a world of hurt. But the way that little bastard just launched into it, man, he was saying stuff like that, but he'd been saying it for years. I was just fucking stunned watching that video. And the thing is, what I'm really wrestling with right now I'm pretty sure it's safe to say y'all know that y'all should probably gather that I tend to vote Democrat more often than not. And since I'm opening up a little bit, I'll own it, man. That video that I made last Monday with the 10 cheeseburgers, that was me totally stripped of all my armor, man. I was fucking vulnerable. I was fucking hurting. When I had that conversation, man, I just, at the risk of setting myself back off again, I just fucking howled and cried, man. I haven't howled and cried like that in ages. And at the risk of making myself vulnerable like that again, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter back in the Democratic primaries. I was talking earlier in this video about I didn't feel a sense of optimism. I didn't feel a sense of compassion to an extent, I didn't feel a sense of hope come out of people anymore. And goddamn, man, every time I heard Bernie speak, I felt that little fire. You know, it's like maybe this can get turned around. It's kind of like when you were younger and your parents would scare you for fun. And there was always that moment when your parent, or maybe an older sibling, or whoever was scaring you, they'd crack a smile. And at that point in time, you knew the joke was over. You knew everything was going to be okay, and you felt safe. You felt hope coming back. You didn't feel like you were in danger anymore. When I would hear Bernie Sanders speak on the trail during the primaries, I felt that feeling. I felt like maybe we could come together as a society. Maybe we could come together and rebuild. Maybe we could reinstate hope. Maybe we could do something where we started taking care of each other again. You know, you've heard me in past videos say, I'm a big old hippie at heart. I've always been about the idea of safety in numbers. I've always been about the idea of taking care of each other. I've always been about the idea of helping people who can't help themselves. You know, again, another quick story. I had a gentleman that I met in the bear community named Stevie. And when Stevie and I met 3 years ago, we had a connection. And Stevie and I did what what men of a certain age and disposition are prone to do when left in a closed room unattended. Then about a year later, Stevie just stopped talking to me. I didn't exist. And when I saw him at the same event a year later, totally blew me off. Didn't want to talk to me. Didn't want a goddamn thing to do with me. So I found out last week on social media that he and his partner had just suffered a house fire that was a complete and total loss. And I kind of thought for a minute, you know, I got a couple reactions that I can play here. Kind of like in the old cartoons. You get the devil tiger on one shoulder. Go ahead and be a dick about it. Find some schadenfreude. Send him a message. Taunt him. And on the other shoulder, the angel tiger. He's just lost everything. He has his partner, his dogs, and the clothes on their back. And I'm staring at a GoFundMe page, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I went in, I made a donation. Pacing myself. I went in, I made a donation. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I won't have one meal in this. Maybe I won't have one meal out. Maybe I'll try to work a little harder, see if I can make some extra money up somewhere. But at the end of the day, I felt better because I did for someone else an act of compassion that they wouldn't have done for me. If the roles were reversed, or if the roles were reversed point blank, he wouldn't have done that. We have enough overlap in our social networks where he would have seen the posting, I'm sure, and probably would have just scrolled right over it. And maybe even made a joke on the social network about how about me and the fire, and I lost everything. Ha, ha, ha. So I tried to live the values that I've been talking about. The idea of helping someone out who can't help themselves, or helping someone out who's in a position of need and not getting a damn thing from it. He knows that he got the money, and he knows where it came from. I even got from GoFundMe, I got a thank you note back from him. He hasn't reached out. He hasn't sent me a message on Facebook, and I didn't plan on that. This wasn't some kind of a bad rom-com plan to try and reopen ties of communication. But again, that to me was me proving to myself that I was the better person, which is all that I can do and all that I try to do. And I'll hope that maybe that's how you make change. Just one little simple act of compassion. And I say that because all day, it's the 14th of June, I've been struggling with what that asshole did to the Republicans who were playing baseball. I have no love for the GOP. I don't even have respect for the GOP. And I have even less since Agent Orange moved into the White House. And every week, remember in some of those old videos that I made around the beginning of the year when I had hold my beer moments? That seems to be the Trump White House in action. It's almost like they are daring someone to try to impeach that man, especially on the Russia issue. And they called Comey in to testify. And Comey gave them a treasure trove of shit that if someone had the balls, they could go after him with impeachment charges. And the Trump administration like, hold my beer. And in comes Jeff Sessions, who spent the last 2 days squirming. The man is not the goddamn president, but he's trying to invoke executive privilege. Bubba, it don't work that way. I am not a government scholar by any means of the imagination. My government schooling ended when ABC canceled Schoolhouse Rock. However, even I know that as the Attorney General, you can't pull executive privilege. But here he is, dodging. Oh. And no one will do a damn thing about Agent Orange. Now, again, that kind of brings me back to the point. I have no love for the Republican Party. I have no love for the GOP. I have no love for right-wing conservatives. That includes a majority of libertarians, both the racist and the non-racist. That includes the morons, the sovereign citizens. all y'all, man, a pox on your damn houses. However, I cannot condone what that man did today. Taking a rifle and opening fire on people because you disagree with their political beliefs, that ain't going to win us points. And then when we found out that he was a Sanders volunteer, it just went from bad to worse. Now, I've been avoiding the news for a majority of the day ever since. But something tells me at the tender age of 45, right-wing apologists are not going to treat that man the same way that they treated the little bastard who shot Gabrielle Giffords a few years ago. If you don't remember that, you're on a computer. Pause this video, Google that name, and come back. So I don't know, man. There's that old song by the Go-Go's. They released a double CD set back in 1994 called Return to the Valley of the Go-Go's. It was a bunch of B-sides and early recordings and some new stuff that they put together. And one of those new songs was called Has the Whole World Lost Its Head? And I have found that clip on YouTube too many goddamn times in the last 6 months and played it back, partially out of a sense of irony and partially out of a genuine sense of wonder if the whole world has not gone completely fucked. And I'm running low on tacos here. I got this one and one more in the box for those of you keeping score. Or more appropriately, for those of you who ain't come yet and moved on to the next video, but I am stunned at the fact that the Bill Cosby jury is 3 days into deliberation and they have not gotten a verdict on that asshole yet. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me with my simple education. But common sense says if you give a woman pills that are designed to put her in an altered state, and you do it without her knowing, and you do it without telling her what it's going to do, and you get her in that altered state, and you take sexual advantage of her, again, limited education here. That to me is pretty cut and dry rape. Consent ain't that hard to grasp. I don't know why people across the board don't get that whole idea of consent. Do you want to have sex? Yes. Woohoo! Do you want to have sex? No? Well, shit. giving women pills because you don't think that they're going to say yes, that's pretty cut and dry. Giving women pills and taking advantage of them, that's pretty damn cut and dry. But we got a goddamn jury. 3 days so far, they're deliberating. And that's the other thing about this Bill Cosby story. Now, I understand that the woman who sued him, she's the last one who can. Her statute of limitations hadn't run out, and all the other ones ran out. God damn, man, there was a point in time a few years ago when this story first broke. It was like every day, 1 or 2 more victims were coming forth. Bill, I got bad news for you. Not all women talk to each other. I know we kind of have that as one of our cultural myths. All women talk to each other. All women know each other. Not all women talk to each other. He's been at this for a while. So when multiple women, what was it, 40 something? When 40 women came forward with scarily similar stories, scarily similar narratives about what happened and what went down, Bill, I don't know what to tell you, man. I have a certain approach of logic. When you're looking at patterns, look at the common denominator. What's the one thing that all those women and all those stories have in common? But we got a fucking jury that's deliberating for 3 goddamn days on this. Like I said, man, we're living in a dumb world that's getting dumber. And the Cosby thing in particular really sucks. Well, first of all, it sucks because all those women were violated. I've been the victim of sexual violence. Not going to talk about it. Not going there. Don't ask. You grab me on Telegram and you start asking, you'll get a boot to the ass.
That boy is a P.I.G. pig.
How you feel when it happens. So first of all, it's a tragedy that many women had to suffer before someone finally shone a light on him and put the pressure on him to bow out. But at the same time, and what's worse kind of on the personal level, I actually liked Bill Cosby when I was a kid, man. One of my favorite cartoons on TV was Fat Albert. Every Saturday morning, man. I watched Fat Albert, man. You know, all those damn Filmation cartoons, man. I could probably fill a whole video just talking about Filmation, man. All the just amazing goddamn cartoons that they put out. I got taco on my teeth. But Fat Albert, man, he was a cool goddamn guy. You know, he was caring. He was compassionate. He always tried to find the best in people. And something with that just resonated with me. You know, okay, fine, I'll admit it. This was part of it. But still. And of course, I got to say, man, any cartoon that sent me off looking through trash for stuff to turn into a musical instrument, because come on, man, you watch those old Fat Albert music videos, Who was it? I'm trying to think of the dude. Well, okay, Rudy doesn't count. Rudy had his own guitar. So when you see Rudy play the guitar, that was his guitar that he bought. But the rest of those guys, they made their instruments out of shit they found in the junkyard. And I think it was Russell who had a pair of spoons, who had spoons attached to strings on a rack. And he would hit the spoons to make music. I think Fat Albert had some kind of a bag that he held under his arm and just kind of made his own impromptu tuba. So when you listen to those songs, man, they're professional, polished rock songs. Those would never come out of those instruments. But God damn, when I was a kid, if I did not try to put together junk instruments so I could make music like Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. And now every time, man, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch some of those videos. And all I can think, man, is, Bill, when you were making those TV shows in the 70s, you were doing this horrible shit to women, man. And I can't watch it anymore. You know, I know there was that point when the Cosby Show was big for NBC on Thursday nights, but even then, man. And again, to get off the tangent, I'm still fucking stunned that a jury is going on 3 goddamn days of deliberation. And they're even attacking the victim, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. I guess the whole point of this dinner rack, man, something is broken in the world. Maybe more appropriately, there are too many broken people in the world who have too much influence over it. And until this morning, I could at least look to one end of the political spectrum and say, oh my God, they're fucked. After today, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that Antifa goes a little too far, a little too often. But for all their goddamn violence, Antifa never killed no one. Don't mean that I'm abandoning the left wing. Don't mean that I'm going to stop identifying as progressive. Don't mean that I'm going to stop voting Democrat. Here's the perfect example for those of you who are reading comic books. It's like that whole Captain America storyline that's running right now. We've known for a while that Hydra's been around. We know that a while that Hydra is everywhere. But we always thought there were certain safe corners of the Marvel Universe. And then we find out Captain fucking America. Hail Hydra. Really? The one goddamn dude that we thought would be absolutely safe, absolutely clear, absolutely Nazi-proof, is a fucking Hydra agent. That's just how I'm kind of feeling about this guy who gunned down the Republicans playing fucking baseball, man. It's like, really? That's the kind of shit that I would expect from them. And yep, goddamn it, I'm out of tacos. I hate it when that happens. So 50 minutes later, to close up where we got started, I appreciate the fact that a munchie reached out to me last week. Seriously, it's kind of nice knowing that I'm good for more than giving people something to jack off to. What can I say? So if any of you want to reach out after this and get in touch, by all means. I make myself pretty available. I don't give out my cell phone number. I learned that one the hard way early on. But I have enough services where as long as you're playing nice and not putting on a creepy vibe, and I don't have to hit the block button to make you go away, I make myself pretty accessible. So if you want to grab me on Skype and not ask me to video and not hit your goddamn video call button as soon as we're connected, I'll tell you right now, I've had people ask me. I'm mostly a text person. I don't have many times in life to stop down for an hour or even 10 minutes and video with people, especially since 9 out of 10 times within a minute of the conversation, they're pulling their dicks out on me. So I tend to be a text-based conversation person. So if you want to grab me on Skype, it's Big Fat Strappy Cat, BIGFATSTRIPEYCAT. If you want to grab me on Telegram, it is also Big Fat Strappy Cat, BIGFATSTRIPEYCAT. Shit, man, where the hell else am I hanging out these days? I still got Kick, although nobody really gets me on Kick anymore. But I keep it on my phone. Also, Big Fat Strappy Cat, BIGFATSTRIPEYCAT. I think the only one that I can't use, Facebook. Surprise, surprise, BIGFATSTRIPEYCAT. I think the only one that I can't use that on is Twitter. Because Twitter cuts you off at 15 characters and my chosen handle is 16. So on Twitter, it's just Fat Strappy Cat. FATSTRIPEYCAT. So there you go, folks. We're living in dark times. We are living in a selfish world where nobody gives a shit about each other. So my challenge to you is to start to turn that around. Be the person that starts the momentum moving in another direction. Don't think selfishly. Don't be a dick. Think compassion. Think empathy. Think us instead of me. There we go, folks. I don't know when I'm going to make another one of these, but at some point in time, barring a heart attack or a car accident, I'm sure you'll see me in the future. So, y'all be good. Be good to each other. And stay fucking safe out there, please.
That boy is a P-I-G pig.